Whatever this belt is there, uh, belts or chains or gears. Okay, uh, these are the drive system which is used to transmit power from one source to the other source. Okay, uh, power is going to be transmitted from the prime mover to a machine by using a means of intermediate mechanism called drives, that is belt drives, chain or gear. And when we are going to use belts, if the center distance is more, at that time we'll use belt drives. I will show you what do you mean by this center distance. Yes, here you can see that it is the distance between the two drives. Okay, driver and the driven pulley. The center distance between these is called as C. If the C distance is greater, then I will go for belt drives. If the center distance is less, then we'll go for gear drives. Okay, in the next chapters, you will be studying that gear drives. Now we'll see belt drives. Belt drives is used to transmit motion, preferably if the center distance is long. If it is short, we'll use gear drives. And in this, there are three different types of belt drives. One is flat belt drive, V belt drive, or the third one is a circular belt drive, or it is also called as rope belt drive. And by using the different materials, these flat belt drive and V belt drives are going to be manufactured. Okay, we'll see the materials for the construction of flat belt as well as V belt drives. Here you can see that these are the belt drives. Okay, the common material which are going to be used for the construction of this belts are leather, rubber, fabric, canvas, or rubberized fabric and synthetic materials are going to be used to manufacture the different types of belts. Okay, we'll see one by one. Whatever figure A which you are seeing, it is a leather belt. In this, four plies are there or layer. This is one, two, three, four. Depending upon that, it is called as four ply leather belt. If two are used, then it will be two ply leather belt. Depending upon how many number of plies are there, we are going to call that number of ply leather belt. Okay, and this leather belts are made up of either side of the black bone of steer, and by using the oak tanned or chrome tanned, these are the two basic varieties of the leather belt. In order to make the thick belt, the leather layers are cemented together. Here you can see that these are called as leather layers or plies, which are going to be cemented together. And these flat belts are specified based on the number of plies. As I told you, if three plies are used, then it will be called as three ply leather belt. How many number of plies you are going to use, depending upon that, it will be called by that name. This is about the leather belt. And figure B which you are seeing, it is a fabric rubber belt. Okay, in that three are there. One is a raw edge belt, second one is a folded edge belt, and third one is a spirally wrapped folded edge belt. And whatever this fabric rubber belts are there, these are made up from several layers. Here you can see that these are made up from several layers of canvas or cotton duck impregnated with the rubber. The rubber is going to be impregnated with the cotton duck or the canvas to manufacture this fabric rubber belt. Okay, and the major portion of the load will be transmitted by whatever the fibers are there. These are going to transmit the major portion of the load, and the rubbers are going to protect the fabric, whatever the fabric is there. Okay, the rubber which is going to protect the fabric against the damage or increase in the coefficient of friction. We'll see what do you mean by this raw edge belt. This raw edge belt, it consists of a plies of fabric. These are the plies of the fabric or layer of the fabric which are going to be cut to the width of the belt. Whatever the width of the belt is there, according to that, the fabrics are going to be cut and these are going to place one above the other. And between the plies or the fabric, they are going to have a layers of a rubber, and the edges of the layers are protected by the waterproof compound. This is about the raw edge and how this folded edge belt fabric rubber is manufactured. The folded edge belt consists of a center ply. Here you can see that it consists of a center ply wrapped around with a rectangular plies. Here you can see that two rectangular plies are there. Okay, the center ply is going to be wrapped up around the rectangular plies, and these belts may or may not have the rubber layers between the plies, whereas in the previous case, in between this fabric, the rubbers are going to be placed in the raw edge, whereas in folded edge, you may place or may not place the rubber in between the plies. It consists of a central ply and it is going to wrap around the rectangular plies. The last one is a spiral wrapped folded edge belt. And these are made up of a single piece. Here you can see that it is made up of a single piece of fabric without any rubber layer in between. Means here they don't have a rubber in the folded edge as well as in spiral wrapped folded edge belt. In between rubber is not used, whereas in raw edge belt rubber is used between the fabric, a layer or plies. And the edges of these belts are semicircular in shape, and it is having advantages for the operation of the pulleys which are having flanges. Where the pulleys are having flanges, you can use this spiral wrapped folded edge belt because of a semicircular edges. This is about the fabric material, and these flat belts are produced in the form of long bands and stored in the form of coils. Okay, usually if you see these belts, okay, flat belts, it will be produced in the form of long bands, and to store that it will be done in a coils. Okay, and once you are going to join that, okay, join two ends, for example, uh, this is a, what do you call that, belt which I am going to join. Okay, means it will be having two ends. Okay, to join this, different methods are there. Okay, total three methods are there which are going to be used. Assume that this is the flat one. Okay, when you're going to use that in the working, okay, you need to join these ends. Okay, here I have joined that ends. Okay, there are three methods which are used to join this. Okay, see, we will see one by one. The first one is a cemented joint. Here you can see that this is the cemented joint. In this, whatever the leather belts are there, okay, which are going to be cemented with a tapered lap joint. Okay, lap joint is nothing but you have seen in your first year workshop. Okay, lap joint is nothing but it is used to join two spacing. For example, here you can see that this is one and this is the other one. You can see that this is the lap joint, means placing one above the other. Here the lap joint is done. Similarly, in this case also, we are going to do the lap joint. Okay, in this, whatever the leather belts are there, these are going to be cemented with a tapered lap joint of the length. Usually, whatever that this length is there, it will be 20 to 25 times of the thickness of the belt, such that you will get a better joint. And these belts are going to be joined in the form of stepped joint. Here you can see that these are going to be joined in the form of step joint in the multiple plies. Here total 4 plies are there. Okay, in the step form, all the plies are going to be joined, and whatever this joint is there, it will be having more than 80 to 85 strength of the belt. This is about the cemented. Compared to all the three, the cemented joint will have a better strength, that is 80% than the of the belt, the main whatever the belt is there. The second joint is by using the lace joint. Okay, how you are going to tie your lace? The same method is used to join two belts. This is one and two. To join this, they'll be using the lace joint. Okay, and this lace joint is done with a catgut or with a rawhide strips. Using that, they're going to join this lace joint. Here the strength will be 50% of the belt strength. Compared to cemented, it will be having 80 to 85, whereas lace joint will be having 50%. The last one is joints with the metal fasteners. Here you can see that a metal fasteners is done. This is the two belts which are going to be joined using the metal fasteners. Okay, compared to both this, it will take less time to join, and it is not suitable for high speed operations. For high speed operations, better to go with a cemented joint. And whatever the strength of the joint is there, it will be 20% of the belt's strength. If it is rotating at a small speed, then you can go with metal fastener joints with the metal fastener. Otherwise, the best one is a cemented joint. Whatever your floor mills you are seeing, I think you have seen that belt drives. Okay, they'll be using this cemented joint. These are the different types of belts we have seen, different types of materials, and how they are going to be joined. Next, we'll see one more, that is V belt. This is the V belt. It consists of three uh, parts. One is load carrying cords. Whatever these circular you are seeing, these are called as cords which are going to carry the load. And this one is hatched is a rubber, and the last one is the cover which is going to cover the rubber and the cord. Okay, using the polyester cord or the polyester fabrics, the cords are going to be manufactured, and these are going to be placed, okay, or located in the horizontal. Here you can see that these are going to be placed in the horizontal plane, and that will be near to the CG of that belt cross section. These are going to be placed horizontal and near the center of gravity of the belt cross section, and the surrounding layer of the rubbers are to transmit the force from the cord to the side wall. For that purpose, the rubber is used, and this outer or whatever the cover is there, it is the outer polychloroprene, which is going to be impregnated with an elastic cover. Okay, these are the three uh, parts which are, or the components which are used to manufacture the V belt. Okay, and we'll see when it is subjected for loading, uh, which are the rubbers subjected for compression and tensile. For example, if you see this, okay, if loading is done, okay, if the loading is done, the member will bend like this, whatever the rubber is there. Okay, if you see it, whatever the fiber which are there at the top, you can see that the fibers which are there at the top, this is called as neutral axis. This is the neutral axis. The plies which are there on the top of this neutral axis, these are subjected for tensile. Here you can see that there's an increase in length, whereas the bottom one are subjected for compression. Similarly, in this also V belt, whatever the layers of the rubbers, okay, which are located above the uh, cords, that is, these are going to carry the load, are subjected for, these are subjected for tensile or tension. Okay, that's why these rubbers are called, or layers are called as tension layer, whereas the bottom layers, okay, it below the cord, okay, load carrying cord, these are subjected for compression. That's why it is called as compression layer. This, it is called as tensile layer, and this is a compression layer. Next is the velocity ratio. Okay, velocity ratio is nothing but it is the ratio of angular velocity of a driver pulley to the angular velocity of the driven pulley. Velocity ratio is nothing but, or it is also called as transmission ratio or speed ratio. It is the ratio of angular velocity of driver pulley to the angular velocity of driven pulley. This is the formula which will be used to calculate the velocity ratio. Okay, if the thickness of the belt is not considered, we'll use this N by capital N is equal to capital D by small d. Capital D is nothing but diameter of the larger pulley. Small d is diameter of the smaller pulley. The RPM of the smaller pulley, this capital N is RPM of the larger pulley. If you are going to consider the thickness of the belt, you need to add T to the diameter. Means we are going to consider the thickness. Capital D plus T, denominator small d plus T. Okay, this formula will be used to uh, calculate the velocity ratio considering the thickness of the belt. This is without considering the thickness of the belt. And in your elements of mechanical engineering, you have studied this belt drives. Okay, in that you have derived this length of the belt. Okay, for your design of machine element 2, derivation is not there. Okay, to find out the length of the open belt, these two types of belts are there. One is open belt drive, this is called as open belt drive. Other one is a cross belt drive. It will be like this. Yes, here you can see that this is the cross belt drive, this is the driver, and this is the driven. Capital D is nothing but diameter of the larger pulley, small d is diameter of the smaller pulley, and C is nothing but the central distance. This formula will be used to calculate the length of the open belt. Equation 14.2b, and whatever this theta L is there, theta S is there. This is nothing but the angle of contact. Okay, theta L is nothing but larger pulley. This is larger pulley. Here you can see that this is theta L, and this theta S is nothing but angle of contact of a smaller pulley. Okay, you need to calculate this angle of contacts of larger as well as smaller pulley. Okay, after that you can substitute that in the above equation, that is 14.2 b. You are going to get the length of the open belt drive. Okay, to calculate the smaller pulley and larger pulley angle of contact, we'll be using 14.1a and 14.1b equation. And in this, whatever the angle you are going to get, it will be in radians. Keep in mind, the angle will be in radians. The angle which you are going to calculate from 14.1a, 14.1b, it will be in terms of radians. Okay, and here you can see that whatever the diameter of the pulley is there, it is different. Okay, in case if the diameter of the pulley is same, means capital D is equal to small d, both the diameter is same, then we can use this angle of contact of larger pulley will be same as that of smaller pulley. Okay, at that time we can take it as pi, and it will be in terms of radians. This formula will be used to calculate the length of the open belt. Similarly, length of cross belt. Okay, uh, this is how the cross belt will look like. Okay, question 14.2c will be used to calculate the length. Okay, you will be using this formula to calculate the value. And here in the length of cross belt, okay, uh, the angle of contact between the smaller pulley and larger pulley will be same. Okay, therefore we'll call it as theta. Theta, we are going to take it from 14.2a equation. Okay, using this, the theta value will be calculated, the diameters will be given, center distance will be given. Substitute that, you are going to get the angle theta. Once you get the angle theta, substitute that angle in the above equation, you are going to get the um, total length of the cross belt. Okay, these formulas are used to calculate length of cross belt and length of open belt. After that, next it is the ratio of belt tension. Okay, uh, and this ratio of belt tension is T1 by T2 e raised to mu theta. Okay, yeah, this derivation already you have done in your elements of mechanical engineering in the first year. This is how the ratio of belt tension will be used. 14.3a can calculate the ratio. After that, 14.3b can calculate the stresses in this. After that, effect of centrifugal tension on ratio of tensions. Okay, how the centrifugal tension is going to affect on the ratio of the tensions. These formulas are there in your data and book of 14.3c and 14.3d. Okay, use these equations to calculate the centrifugal tension. Okay, and the one more formula is power transmitted. Okay, power transmitted P is equal to T1 minus T2. T1 is tension in tight side, T2 is tension in slack side, whereas V is nothing but the velocity of the belt. The unit of power is kilowatt. Okay, and whereas the velocity should be in meters per second. Okay, these are the formulas which will be using to solve the problem. Okay,